Hi, good morning, it's Gene from maverickstar Observatory. It's 4:37 AM. Yes, when the lights are on at that time of the morning, the mind is obviously churning. At the end of the month we do these reports now. It's become another product, I suppose, if you want to call it that. It's just a recap of what's gone on in the month, and later on in this video I think you'll appreciate some of the things that have gone on, some of the changes, and we've helped a little bit change a few things, and I'll explain as we go on. But the main point is, we run an observatory, and we don't just, like a lot of other YouTube channels, talk about these things. We actually invest in the equipment so we can record the truth. That's what it's all about. You can hear all these things on mainstream media saying this, that, da 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 da, but at the end of the day it comes down to evidence. And when you've got the equipment to provide the evidence, then there is no questionability about the facts that you deliver, and that is what our observatory does. It's really hard to get that over to people. We have, I don't know whether to say sadly or thankfully, we have 10,000 people view the content on the website poleshiftnews.com every week, and I think that's a modest flow of traffic. So there's obviously people that are interested in the content that's on there, but they completely null and void the observant donate button. And there isn't a newspaper or a magazine in this world that can survive without people purchasing it. It's as simple as that. And in this modern world, you've got mainstream media, and you've got these platforms where observatories like ours reveal our findings for the month, especially if you're interested in the magnetic pole migration and the positioning of that pole. Then there's got to be some value in that. It's a rare event. Last time the Earth's magnetic poles reversed on this planet, 780,000 years ago. I get tired of even mentioning that figure, but I understand that there is new people every day that subscribe to the channel. Sometimes one by one, they come along and they're new to the topic, and they need to be informed of what's going on and why the climate is changing for real. That must have a worth and a value to some people. We're at the last day of the month, and I've tried for the last 4 months now everything in my power to extend the capability of trying to raise revenue for the observatory, other than asking for your help as well, guys. And it just seems sometimes the more you do, the harder it gets, and that's proving the case. We've earned zero revenue off of other things that we've tried to do, like Clydra Silver and sending messages out into space for people, get involved with other companies and things like that. It becomes a gauntlet. The more you try and do it. I mean, I've got an exam this week which I've got to pass. I've also got another exam on the 2nd and the 3rd of September, in order for me to get back into a 9-to-5 job like you guys in a specialist area. So I'm exactly the same as you. I'm trying to do also as much as I can for you guys as well that subscribe to this content on this channel. But as much as I try and explain to people, we're not like just trying to regurgitate news that's been churned over and over and over in the mainstream. we're actually contributing to fresh substances like, how much carbon dioxide really is in the atmosphere, how much oxygen is in the atmosphere, how much muons are we experiencing as a result of cosmic radiation interacting into our atmosphere, because the magnetosphere is weakening because we're in a pole shift, and at the same time we've got a grand solar minimum which is reducing the heliosphere, allowing galactic radiation into our solar system, and our primary system, our primary protective shield is diminishing. And I'm trying to explain to people that is the reason why we are experiencing real climate change. That's the climate changer, is the interaction with this extra cosmic radiation. How much have we diminished? 20%. Some might not think that's a lot, but what does that leave? 80%, and diminishing still. The pole is still migrating on this planet, and we're still in this anomaly, and we're the first human beings to experience a real reversal. If that's the case, it could be an excursion. This is a new thing on the block, the excursions, and it's unproven territory, if you ask me, whether these things are real. Nevertheless, we are here where we are today, and we are witnessing, as a result of climate change, the effects that it's having on commercial farming globally. This is the cause for many people committing suicide. Right now, there is an organisation even in the UK which is looking after farmers' welfare. And we don't have to talk too much about what the global affairs are outside of the UK, because we already know, as I've mentioned before, India, tens of thousands of farmers committing suicide as a result of bad information, bad seeds, and just trusting people you shouldn't trust. And it goes deeper and deeper and deeper than this, and we're going to get into that. But the main thing is that we can easily disappear overnight, this observatory. And where does that leave us then, when it's gone? And it has, if it's gone and gone to the wall, that's it. I've done my best. But if it disappears, where does that leave us today? Better off? Worse off? None the wiser? Now, I can't express. I get battered every time for asking for support, but there's nothing more at this point in time that I can do to, help the observatory financially and keep it going. There is costs, real costs involved in this. There's maintenance, development, and we've come such a long way. If you've been following us for the last 4 years, we've come such a long way to getting where we are today. And we're in a pandemic. I know people are feeling the pinch, but you know what? Are we prepared really to lose the observatory? The European Space Agency aren't coming forth with the information on the magnetic pole. NASA refuse to really admit what the consequences are, yet if you do a bit of research and digging, you'll find out exactly what the consequences are. It's the worst case scenario if it gets that bad. There are some significant changes with our planet. And you might think, you're pushing it a little bit here, Gene, on the fear porn, but no, I'm not. Let me tell you something. The Earth went through a magnetic reversal every 300,000 years or thereabouts. We've got a delay of 500,000 years, and there's a reason for that. And that's the reason why I say we can't judge this magnetic reversal on all the other reversals, because this is significant. There's a significant delay in the reversal time period, and we should be concerned about that. especially when we knew what happened to the nearest planet to us in this solar system with regards to when that lost its magnetosphere. The magnetosphere, just like water, are the two very things that keep our planet alive with a diverse biodiversity. Simple as that. If we lose the magnetosphere, we'll lose the water. And before we lose the water, we'll be all sterilised. So, it's an important topic, and it happens. We know it happens. We've seen it happen to one of our neighbouring planets. It's a possibility. The core of our Earth could solidify, shut down the dynamo, shut down the magnetosphere, shut down the protective shield that we enjoy from the harmful cosmic radiation and solar radiation that protects us. And we're living in that time right now. We're also living in a very corrupt time with regards to human behaviour. And a couple of things that I want to bring up is, I mentioned in the video the other day, Matt Hancock, the guy who is the Minister for Health in the UK. And, I could be mentioning anyone else around the world who's in politics and who's a politician. It doesn't matter. We know what they're up to. And they need to stop it because they're harming people through their actions. And Matt Hancock has resigned now. I don't think it was because of the video that I did about him, because if you go on YouTube, you'll find many videos about him. This was a public outcry of stop the fucking corruption right now. You're taking the piss. And I think it got to the point where someone did pay attention, and he's resigned as a result of that, and fair play for that. I'll just add a few things to that. He sold lucrative contracts to friends. He did not abide by his own rules that he set for the general public in this country with regards to self-distancing. He allowed people from hospital that had still got COVID-19 back into old people's homes, which resulted in spreading the pandemic and wiping out more people. And to top it off, the person that he sleeps next to, his wife, and the kids that look up to him, he betrayed by having an affair with one of his colleagues. Yeah, he should have resigned, no doubt about it. And one of the other alarming stories that I've recently come into touch with this month, just to round things up, this is what the Pole Shift report on the last day of the month is all about, really. It's about summarising just some of the things that are in not just mainstream media but are circulating on alternative platforms like YouTube and Twitter and this, that and the other. Is that some of the leading brands of baby food have been discovered to have arsenic, cadmium and lead in the food. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? The most vulnerable, cherished items usually in our life is our children. And these giant companies that produce baby food have been found in some cases to have 100 times more arsenic than in other baby brand foods. But why is arsenic, cadmium and lead in any baby food? We need to get, we can't trust anything in this fucking day and age, can we? I mean, when we talk about the vulnerability of babies and how much care and how much we love them, how much we invest in them, for these big companies to, knowingly have these substances in their food, just absolutely is, I could keep swearing, I really could, but it's absolutely shocking. And I just don't know why, if they know that these substances are in their food, why they produce them and sell them. But none of these products have been took off the market as of yet, because there is an investigation going on into, all this at the moment. I think is it the FDA or something like that? They're looking into it anyhow. So, it's just, I just don't understand sometimes. I've been on this world for 48 years. 48 years I've been around the sun, and I'm still being surprisingly shocked by what is being allowed. We got the British government trying to ban the produce of cattle in the form of cows. We've had them, subsidise farmers not to produce sheep. These are the very building blocks that took us out of the dark ages. You realise that, don't you? When we become farmers, we allowed ourselves more time, because we weren't hunter-gathering, to do other things and think of other things. Maybe do a little bit of philosophy, which isn't a bad thing. And once was a paid job. If we go back to the Greek days, they spent a lot of time philosophizing ideas and things like that, and being creative. And here we are, just unpicking the very fabrics of our society that keeps it where it is in today's world. I mean, okay, so the British industry of cow rearing, heifer rearing, ceases tomorrow. What about all the hides that are produced as well? What about the leather industry? We're just destroying everything as we go along further in time. It's just insane. I can't understand why we're taking these routes, because farming allowed us not to be concerned with agriculture. I do understand what they're trying to do. They want us eating these maggot larvae 3D printed beef burgers, and I don't want that, me personally, and I bet you guys don't want that. We've got to accept what we are. We're human beings. We are predators. We've got eyes in the front of our head, and we've been meat eaters for 42,000 years. If you want to be a vegetarian or a vegan, fair play. You don't have to, but don't stop people enjoying what they've been accustomed to for thousands of years, what is naturally in their DNA and their blood. Just back off. It would live in total insane it's got to be a paradox what we're in right now. Is there any way I can describe it? It is a quantum world where we really don't know what's next. But it's just, I can't believe we can't even have some conversations about some certain topics, because we'll get reported. We talk about COVID-19 and the origins, we'll get reported. We talk about transgender and subjects relating to that, which is a new thing on the block. Beware of that, which is going to affect our younger generation, because they're going to be confused whether they are or not. These are the subjects that are coming to the pinnacle point of discussion, and you've got to be really treading the water carefully on these topics, because you could easily fall into the realms of being racist or prejudiced to these people. And what sort of world is that when you can't have an opinion? Where's the freedom of speech going in this world today, is the point. We're losing it rapidly. It's right what Davos said. in one of their statements, by 2030 you will be feeling a little bit dizzy because of the amount of changes that will have took place by then. But I just don't understand, some of these changes seem a pretty bit evil to me, and dark, and not really progressive for humanity. And I'm concerned that we're going to lose so much that we've worked so hard for over the last 300 years to this modern craze of fashionable attitudes, and you can't even have an argument with them. You can't discuss the topics, because even if you get into them topics, you're going to be ridiculed for it. And I think you know exactly where I'm coming from. Guys, there are probably a lot of the things we could have talked about in the report for the last day of the month, but I do value your time, and the only other thing I can say is, we really need to do something about raising some cash for this observatory, because we can't just keep affording 10,000 people to come by the website and not donate, and thousands of people to watch the videos that we put out every month and not support. We either all stand together or we lose something very important. I think to lose the observatory, it'd be a massive step back, but we're seeing it, aren't we, already in society? Shops closing down, being boarded up, and what fun is it when you walk down the high street and everything's boarded up and there's no longer a town centre to walk through? Is that where we want to all be, really? Links are down there in the description if you want to support us. And you know what? Let's hope for a better month next month, guys? Let's hope there's good news in the month. As always, bye for now.